The first time I saw the man standing beside my daughter, my knees almost gave out, because once upon a time, he had called me the love of his life. That moment, that brief, breath-stealing second where the past slammed head first into my present, still plays in my mind like a film I didn't agree to star in. He was older now, a little grayer around the temples. He carried himself differently too. Slower, heavier, like life had worn grooves into him. But those eyes, Lord help me, I would have known those eyes in a crowd of 1,000. And my daughter, my sweet, stubborn, beloved girl, stood beside him, her hand wrapped around his arm. In the same way I used to hold him 24 years ago. She looked proud. He looked comfortable. As if they had been that way for a while. As if they had rehearsed how to stand beside each other. As if they belonged to one another. And all I could do was whisper, breath trembling. "Lena, baby, who is this man?" She didn't answer. She only lowered her gaze. The way a child does when she's been caught sneaking out the back door. And that was the moment I knew. My daughter had been hiding more from me than I ever imagined. And the man she hid was the one person I had spent 2 decades trying to forget. Normal life/setup begins. People always imagine betrayal starts with a loud moment. Shouting, slamming doors, accusations. But the worst betrayals begin quietly. Mine began on an ordinary Tuesday morning. The sun was gentle that day, not too bright, slipping into my kitchen like it had manners. The kettle hissed softly on the stove. The smell of toasting bread filled the air. And Lena, still in her blue cotton pajamas, sat across from me with her messy bun slipping sideways as she scribbled in her journal. 19 years old. My adopted daughter. My miracle. My pride. I always told people. I didn't give birth to her, but the Lord placed her directly inside my heart. She laughed loud, cried hard, loved fiercely. She was the kind of girl who would run into the rain instead of away from it. The kind who stopped to watch sunsets without needing a reason. That morning, she hummed under her breath. A tune I didn't recognize. And tapped her pen against the table like something was bubbling inside her. Something she wanted to share but didn't know how. "Mom," she said suddenly, eyes bright. "Can we do something special this weekend? Maybe go to the lake?" "Of course," I smiled. "If you're not busy with your activities." That's what I called her mystery errands. Little outings she never fully explained. She giggled. "Mom, you say it like I'm running a crime ring." "Well," I teased, "a mother can't help but wonder where her daughter keeps disappearing to." She rolled her eyes playfully and reached for her toast. Everything felt normal, comfortable. But looking back, I see now how her fingers trembled when she buttered her bread. How her smile twitched at the edges. How she kept glancing at her phone like she was waiting for someone. Signs I didn't recognize then. Signs I wish I had. After breakfast, she hugged me tighter than she usually did. A long, lingering hug. "Love you, Mom," she whispered against my shoulder. "Love you too, baby." If I had known what she was hiding, if I had known who she was about to bring into my life again, I might have held her a little tighter. Lena worked part-time at a small art store downtown. She painted in her spare time. Flowers, sunsets, silhouettes of people she imagined rather than knew. Sometimes she'd paint women who looked like me. She said she liked capturing the lines of strength on my face. I always laughed and told her those weren't strength lines. They were stress lines from raising her. Our life was simple but full. We shared meals. We watched movies snuggled under the same blanket. We took long walks in the neighborhood, pointing out dogs and arguing over which one was the cutest. She told me everything. Or so I thought. In the evenings, she would sit on the porch with her sketchbook, charcoal staining her fingers. I'd bring her iced tea, sit beside her, and she'd rest her head on my shoulder. Those were my favorite moments. Felt like family, like belonging, like healing. I had adopted her at 25, far younger than most people thought was wise. But when I saw her in that foster home, hiding behind a bookshelf with her little arms wrapped around her knees, something inside me clicked into place. I knew. God placed her in my path for a reason. "I don't want to go anywhere," she had whispered the first night in my home. "I'm scared you'll send me back." "Baby," I told her, kneeling down to her eye level, "you're home now. I'm not sending you anywhere." And I kept that promise. Every day, every year, every sacrifice. But promises don't protect you from secrets. And no amount of love can shield you from what you don't see coming. Back then, I never imagined my past could bleed into her future. I had buried it deep. The heartbreak, the regret, the man who walked away from me when I needed him most. His name was Daniel Hayes. I hadn't spoken it aloud in years. But fate, or bad luck, or God's hard lessons, has a strange way of circling back. On that quiet Tuesday morning, with birds fluttering in the oak tree outside and my daughter humming a tune in my kitchen, I had no idea Daniel was already back in her life. I had no idea he had been back for months. I had no idea he had been in her life in a way he had never been in mine. A way no man should ever be in the life of a girl he met through me. I had no idea my daughter, my sweet Lena, was already his wife. And the first clue, the first tiny crack in our perfect little world, would appear just 3 days later. A clue so small, so ordinary, I almost brushed it aside. But it was the beginning of a storm I couldn't stop. Not even with all the love in the world. I didn't start noticing the changes all at once. Looking back now, I can see how they slipped in softly. The way the evening breeze slides under a closed door. Quiet. Almost respectful. Almost. But at the time, life still felt calm, steady enough to make me believe nothing could shake us. Most mornings began the same way, with a soft hum of my old kitchen fan and the warming scent of ginger tea drifting through the house. I loved the early hours. They gave me a feeling of control, of purpose. While the world was still stretching awake, I had time to think, to pray, to thank God for the roof over my head and the daughter I'd been blessed with. Her name was Lila. And even today, even after everything, saying her name still does something to my chest. Pulling. Soft ache. I adopted her when she was barely 3 years old. Back then I was only 26. Too young, many said, too alone, too unprepared. But I didn't care. I had spent years carrying this emptiness that had no name. The moment I saw those wide, frightened eyes staring up at me in the adoption center, something clicked inside me. A quiet, almost sacred certainty. This child, she's meant to be mine. People doubted me, but I never doubted myself. And from the day she came home, I poured every bit of love I had into raising her. I learned her rhythms, the way she hummed when she was drawing, the way she tucked her hair behind her ear when she lied, the way she'd run to me after preschool with her backpack bouncing. Those memories feel warm-colored now. A little faded at the edges, but untouched by the storm that would come years later. At 18, she was bright, responsible, and gentle to a fault. She helped me run the small tailoring shop behind our house, pressing scarves, measuring cloth, greeting customers with her sweet, steady voice. People often said she was the kind of girl who made you feel safe when she smiled. And she was. But even the softest people carry secrets. I've learned that now. Back then I didn't suspect a thing. I didn't see any shadows in her eyes, no strange hesitations, no signs of a life tucked away behind her laughter. I thought we told each other everything. That autumn, things began changing in small, easily overlooked ways. First was her phone. Lila had never been much of a phone girl. She used it to call me if she was late or to share pictures of dresses she wanted to sew someday. But suddenly, she started keeping it near her at all times, often face down, screen locked, silence mode on. And the way she guarded it. Well, it wasn't loud, but it was deliberate. Once, while we were eating lunch, it buzzed lightly against the wooden table. She flinched, almost spilling her glass. When she checked it, her thumb trembled, and she turned her body a little away from me. "Everything okay?" I asked. Her smile came too fast. Too practiced. "Yeah, Mom. Just a friend." I let it go. I wanted to trust her. But that was the first thread, the one that would quietly unravel the world I thought I knew. The second clue came a week later. We had a tradition. Every Friday evening we closed the shop early, cooked something indulgent, usually biryani or butter chicken, and watched old Bollywood movies until we fell asleep on the sofa. But that particular Friday, Lila came home late. Her hair was slightly messy, as if she'd been running her fingers through it. Her cheeks had a faint flush. She smelled faintly of cologne, not a scent I recognized. "Where were you?" asked gently. She didn't meet my eyes at first, busying herself with putting away her purse. "Just out," she said. "With who?" "A friend." Her voice was short, clipped, and I felt something inside me shift. Not in panic but in curiosity, concern. The kind a mother learns to carry without letting it spill. "Everything okay, sweetheart?" She hesitated, just for a breath, then nodded quickly. "Yes, Mom. I promise." She hugged me then, pressing her cheek to my shoulder, and for a moment I told myself not to overthink. Girls grow up. They explore. They want privacy. But that night she didn't sit with me to watch our movie. She said she was tired and went to her room early. I heard her whispering on the phone long past midnight. Her voice was soft, too soft, almost tender, like a girl speaking to someone she cared for deeply, someone she trusted, someone she hadn't told me about. Still I kept quiet. Maybe it was pride, or maybe fear. After all, I'd spent years raising her alone. The idea that she might be building a life outside of our little world, without me, was strange. A little painful. But love teaches you patience, and motherhood teaches you silence. I told myself she'd come to me when she was ready. But the truth is, she didn't. And the moment I realized that was on a Sunday morning, a morning that should have been ordinary. The sunlight was spilling across the kitchen tiles as I kneaded dough for rotis. Lila came downstairs wearing a soft pink dress I'd never seen before, a dress too elegant for an ordinary day, too carefully chosen for a simple outing. Her hair was curled at the ends, her lips lightly tinted with color. She looked radiant. "Are you going somewhere?" asked, keeping my tone light. Her eyes flickered. "Just running errands." "In that dress?" She bit her lip, and I felt that familiar pull in my chest, the one mothers feel when their child is hiding something. I'll be back by evening," she said quickly. "Don't wait up if I'm late." Something about her voice startled me. Not in a dramatic way but in a small, aching way. She sounded like someone already halfway out the door. Already halfway into another life. I tried to swallow the unease building in me. I tried to focus on the dough, on the rhythm of kneading, on the simple comfort of being her mother. But when the door closed behind her, the house fell quiet.